Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is an honor to be here with you today, not just because I'm sharing the stage with such dignified, honorary guest speakers and my dad, mashallah, but because we are speaking about the most beloved man to walk on this earth, subhanallah. The most beloved man who was so dear to Allah that Allah has nicknamed him Habibullah, the beloved of Allah. A man that every minute and every moment across the entire world, there's a minaret calling the adhan, proclaiming Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Subhanallah. Because of that alone, I love him. And we love him. Allahu Akbar. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm no alim. My dad, mashallah, he has that part locked down. But I deal with the issues that are plaguing our young children. And so today, I brought the girls with me through letters. I am the founder of a young organization for young girls ages 11 to 18 to help them find themselves and to help them to become the greatest that they can absolutely be. And I said, I want you guys to write a letter to this audience. I want you to tell them exactly how to save and help you. So if you guys would allow me to read, it's only 3 letters. I'm here for 3 letters, subhanAllah. Dr. Muzamil, he brought me here for 3 letters. I'm going to read you the 3 letters, mashallah. I decided to share my story through the thoughts that came to my mind as I typed my life on this sheet of paper. It may seem a little scattered, but scattered is how my emotions erupt through this volcanic existence called creation. I was brought into this world while my parents were in love, married, and together. But the joy that I once felt came to an end while I was very young. As I searched for the love of my father, I grew more depressed and destroyed because the love of my life, my father, was gone. I would go to sleep remembering my dad calling the adhan. I learned the first surah from my dad. My dad brought me security. You see, as a young girl, the protection provided by a father, the security from your father makes your life worthwhile. SubhanAllah. You guys got to forgive me if I start crying because this is a very dear topic to me. So excuse me, I apologize in advance. She said, I remember my father and mother being compassionate with each other. And she said one day that compassion has left. Her father started abusing her mother, and eventually they became divorced. She said through her teenage years, she began to leave Islam due to a lack of guidance. Her mother had to work 2 jobs, and she couldn't teach her as much as she wanted to. By the grace of Allah, she was able to clean up her act and started to practice Islam again. But she said if it was her choice, with all the pain she experienced, she would have chose another religion. She would have definitely chose another religion because she just had too much pain. She said the divorce not only destroyed her, but her brothers and sisters as well. And it destroyed her mother. She said, I remember my mother being single for many years. She stayed alone, although she yearned for love. Throughout the ups and downs of her life, she finally decided to get married. I knew that she was desperate and lonely. I also knew that she would have married my father again if he was going to change just a little bit. She said what happened is that her mother finally decided to get married. She met a man, and because she was so desperate, she married him and contracted a deadly virus. Her parents are now gone, both of them, mashallah, and she is now the guardian of her little sister. This is her addressing you. Parents, please, fathers, don't beat your wives. Mothers, please stop being desperate. Parents, if Allah decrees a divorce for you, please don't leave your children in emotional turmoil. They will spend the rest of their lives trying to fix what happened in their childhood. MashaAllah. The second letter, I met a Muslim brother in high school when I was 15 years old. I wasn't Muslim, and he was, but he was not practicing Islam. I started becoming interested in Islam because if I was going to be dating a Muslim man, I needed to familiarize myself with this religion. I took it upon myself to research Islam and other religions, and I realized Islam was the truth. After 5 months of researching Islam, I converted and became a Muslim, mashallah. Her boyfriend, she said, at the time, did not believe it. He couldn't believe it because he didn't teach her Islam. He was just living his life. And so one day she inspired him to start practicing Islam. And he began praying, and he began reading Quran, and he began fulfilling his rights as a Muslim. And his family was like, mashallah, where is this coming from? We're so excited. And he told them it was because of this young woman. And after she began going to lectures and reading Quran, and she struggled with hijab a little bit, she became a full-time hijabi, mashallah. And what happened is that one day they went to the man's mother and they explained to her that they wanted to get married. So they asked for her permission. And she was totally against it. And the only reason why she was against it, because he was from Bangladesh and she was Hispanic. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. She said before, when the mother thought they were just friends, she loved her to death daily. But now that they're interested in being married, no, this girl is bad for you. She's no good for you. And this is destroying them. You know why this is destroying them? Because she said ever since she became a Muslim, she told him that we can no longer be boyfriend and girlfriend. She told him that for the pleasure of Allah, we can no longer be boyfriend and girlfriend. A man who was born Muslim to a Bangladesh family and a Latino Muslim who just became Muslim told her boyfriend we can no longer be dating and doing this haram, this filth. Because you know what? I'm concerned about my next life. Subhanallah. Takbir. 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 Dad, takbir. Alhamdulillah. I didn't hear you. Mashallah. Mashallah. And so she said it's become extremely difficult for them to stay away from each other. And this has become one of the most hardest tests. And she's asking you, please, parents, please do not use culture as a means of Islam. Culture has its place. We don't have to just rid of culture. But don't substitute it for Islam. We have the answer. We have the best GPS. And there's some good GPSs out there. But we have the best GPS. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. So her plea to you is not only for you to not discriminate, to look at the heart because that is the key, but she actually wants you to make dua that Allah opens the heart of this mother and allow them to be married happily ever after. So please make dua for her. And that is her message. I have one more letter, and I'm getting off the stage. I like to give advice to the families, parents, and children. We spend so much time watching our 75-inch Samsung TV, playing Nintendo 3DS, and playing with our many gadgets. But when it comes to spending time to invest in our deen, we say, oh, I got time. I'm too young to die, or life is too short, so live it up. As a young foreign Muslim woman living in America today, it's hard to focus on the next life when everyone and everything is telling me to live for this life. Why should I read Quran when I could spend time at the movies? Why should I get married when it's so easy to have a boyfriend? The only thing that scares me enough to want to keep my religion is that one day Allah will use his gadget, and his gadget is the angel of death. Subhanallah. This is the only reason that I try to stay away from haram, that I try to advise my friends to stay away from haram. This is the only reason that I struggle to keep my Islam. And so parents, I ask you today, I beg you today, please inspire your children to establish a love for the Quran. Help us put more time and effort into doing what Allah has said for us to do. If you really want the best for us, we need your help badly, subhanAllah. So those are the 3 letters that I came all the way from Atlanta. I flew to Los Angeles or California to tell you, mashallah, I came a long way. But I want to tell you this. Alhamdulillah, I have a TV show. Alhamdulillah, I have a radio show. Alhamdulillah, I'm an author. Alhamdulillah, I do motivational speaking. But the best thing I ever did was found that youth mentorship program for the young girls, ages 11 to 18. It's something about that age, subhanAllah. I just came off a 1-month tour going from state to state with my program, doing motivational seminars and workshops. And I got to meet with girls that were from Pakistan and Bangladesh, that was African American and Caucasian, that was Latino and Indian. And it was so beautiful and so rewarding and so astonishing. But subhanAllah, it was eye-opening. Wallahi, I have never cried that much. And Dad, I don't know if you ever saw me cry. I'm not sure. But I have never cried that much. These girls, you have no idea what they're facing. SubhanAllah. Some of these girls are having abortions. Some of these girls, he's shaking his head, yes. Some of these girls are using drugs and dabbling in alcohol. And they're doing it when you're not home, during school hours. SubhanAllah. Some of these girls actually showed me the cuts on their wrists. They show me the cuts on their wrists because the emotional pain that they're facing, that's being ignored, that's not being addressed, SubhanAllah, they rather see themselves bleed and feel the pain of that than to deal with the emotional pain. SubhanAllah. To think that our daughters and sons are not being affected from the same social ills that is plaguing the rest of America is wrong. Wallahi ba'Allah. Wallahi ba'Allah. If you walk away with nothing else today, I beg you, invest your time, your resources, your energy into your children. They need you. And they want your help so bad, but they're so afraid you're going to judge them. They're afraid you're going to disown them and call them stupid. They're too afraid to approach you, and they'd rather have me, a total stranger who came to their city for one day. They'd rather open up to me and tell me all the problems that they are facing and have been facing for a very long time, just because I looked in their eyes and said, I see your potential, I love you. They need you to validate them. Wallahi, please. If you don't validate them, you know who's going to validate them? You know who's going to validate them? You know who's out there validating them? Those young boys. Those young boys are validating your daughters, and it doesn't have to be like this. So I ask you today, please, excuse my tears. I ask you today, please, you guys, mashallah, a lot of you guys have innocent, pure children. I love that. I love to see the ones that are still pure and not untainted. But reach out to the rest of them. The ratio is so off. They need you. Reach out to the community members. Reach out to the children. They need you. Jazakallah khairan for bringing me here. This was an honor. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.